Alright, this video is for the chosen ones, and what I have to say is this, man. Life and vitality is always calling to you, reaching in the dark and pulling you out into the light. And this comes in many ways. Life circumstances, sometimes you can go down a path. I'm gonna paint some analogies. A lot of stuff is gonna be analogies and parallels with the Matrix. But this will help you to understand further. This is why I'm saying this, and this is why I'm going to do this in this way. So, Matrix 1, the first Matrix, if you've ever seen the first one, where he hops in the car with Trinity, and he was kind of in the middle path of choosing which way to go, and he was about to get out of the car. And if he got out of that car and went down that path, down that road, it would have ended. He would have continued his life asleep in the system, doing whatever he did, being the hacker. But he was seeking, right? He was seeking the light. He was seeking, in this analogy, he was seeking to understand what was really going on in this world, or in the world. And there will be agents, or rather dark beings, who are specifically designed and tasked out to you as a chosen one to keep you basically to keep you in line, to keep you in order, to keep you in the systematic rules of their design. So if you've had a slight awakening, you've noticed this. You've noticed certain people come at you, and it's not going to be so obvious where it's going to seem like they're against you. It's if you know what a handler is, like someone who's a handler, this is what Matrix 4 was. If you've ever seen Matrix 4, Jude, he was tasked out to be his friend at his workplace. He was his co-worker. Okay, but he was designed specifically by the analyst, a program in the Matrix of the reset, that new Matrix, to keep tabs on him, to basically essentially be an informant, to inform the system everything, about what's going on with Neo. Is he waking up? Is he coming to everything, or coming to any conclusions? Is he having another awakening, or did we do a good job keeping him asleep on this reset? You know what I mean, of the new system, the new world. So this is what they'll try to do to you in real life as a chosen child of God, because they don't need to do anything else to anybody else, because they've already got them. They are their own. They're already asleep. Okay, so obviously if other people, their job is to really try to keep everybody asleep. But if other people start to kind of wake up and see the truth and see the light, then of course they will be, there's beings who will be tasked out to put them right back to sleep. And it's a lot easier for the people who are not chosen. For the dark agents, it's a lot easier for them to do that. But the chosen child of God is like they're predestined. They're not only called, but they're chosen. So many are called, but few are chosen in this world, in this life. So again, I say that there's going to be handlers like Jude, specifically tasked out to keep tabs on you, to keep watching you, right? They're like the watchers in the dark realm, the agents of the system. Now, here's the thing about this, with the parallel of the real world, because Hollywood doesn't really line up with the real world. There's a lot of good analogies and parallels, but see, the real flesh and blood human beings out here, a lot of them are unconscious in what is going on with this whole spectrum of realm of keeping tabs on you. It's really like a deeper thing where they're kind of being controlled, but they don't really fully realize that they are being controlled. They don't comprehend that. It doesn't click with them, because they're not tapped into the light source. They're not tuned into the light source, so they don't comprehend or anything I would be speaking right now. But you, as a chosen child of God, can clearly see every time you get on a path such as semen retention, or you sober up, or you just start to do something that really benefits your life and benefits the world, benefits the earth, and really causes other people to live more in the light and more in love, more in tune with God's original creation of how he intended things. Just, and it comes in many different good ways. But as soon as you put yourself on one of these paths, or you find yourself on one of these paths, you're going to realize people will kind of come and try to crash your ascension, so to speak, right? You're wakening up, and they're going to try to, they're going to beep into the system, to the agents, and say, hey, this guy is kind of putting a couple dots together. For example, let's cause some confusion. Let's cause some false information. Let's try to entertain him and suck him back in and distract him. Let's get him to chase females. Let's get him to worry about his status in this world. Let's get him to try to chase money. Let's get him to think about riches. And all that mentality will get you sucked back into the world system, matrix, mindset. Okay, because when you chase riches, when you do all this stuff that doesn't last, that isn't spiritual, that isn't the spiritual path. Now, don't get me twisted. I'm not saying this stuff is wrong, but when you start chasing this stuff and becoming distracted by this stuff, money is, for example, is meant to be a servant, and we're not meant to serve money. Animals, we're not meant to serve animals, or we're meant to take care of animals, or we're meant to take care of the earth, but we're not meant to worship the earth, or do these crazy wacky things that these people do, and they've always done it back in the day. So it's not a new age practice. It's just they've worshipped creation rather than the creator. Okay, so this is part of the system design to get them all wrapped up and focus on almost anything, or to focus on anything but the light, because the light is the very thing that wakes you up. So yeah, man, you're just gonna have these handlers, these Judes out here trying to suck you back in. And it's so funny as a child of God, a chosen child of God, because we see it. So it's so obviously apparent. And, I've tried to expose it to people who I knew were handlers, who I knew were informants. And, it doesn't, it's literally 0% understanding. So it just brings more proof to me of what's really going on. Now, when you assemble, some children of God together, and you get on topics of this, and you start to relate it and put it in parallels and symbolisms and analogies to kind of deepen the topic, and then you mash this up with the Bible, because it's always nice to look at it from a different lens. It's basically parables. If you can pick it apart, if you have the spirit of understanding, this is what I'm trying to get you guys to understand on some level of how it has to do with the matrix, But you'll have those people out there, they're basically essentially programs. They're programmed in their mind. Their mind has been programmed. The human being's mind has been programmed to be a handler on you or against you. But they're not, like I said, they're not going to come at you with pitchforks against you like that, or punch you in the face against you like that. It's going to be to just simply to try to keep you in the system, to try to keep you distracted. And again, just analyze this yourselves. When you are on seeing retention, do you not get some sort of resistance, both internally and externally? Like something, like you feel like something's trying to stop you? Well, this is not a figment of your imagination. You're not just imagining things. You're not just like, you're going through it type of thing. You're going through these urges, and like people are switching up on you, and people are changing their viewpoints about you suddenly out of nowhere. And sometimes you feel like the whole world is crashing against you, even when when you get on a really big, long streak, you realize that you hit a phase shift, and you start to see things differently because you've been on the path long enough where you realize things that most of the world does not. It's just as simple as that. And it's, like I said, going back here, it's hilarious as a child of God to see this, because it's like, oh, here they go again. It's like, don't they know? It's like, they've got to know that I know. Right? They've got to know that I know. And I don't say it clearly either, but like this video is kind of painting it in a very clear way, so you got to know who you are. If you're watching this, you got to know who you are. Like, you got to make sure you're a child of God. You got to make sure that you yourself are not being manipulated. See the games that they play. The mind games run very, very deep. The best way to win is to not try to figure that out, to not play, because the second you respond to a programmed person who's basically a handler to the system, it'll suck you down a rabbit hole of making you look weird or bad or not knowing what's going on. Okay, so the best way to win is to not play, but understand. The Spirit is the one who gets you to understand. The Spirit of God is light. The Spirit of God is love. You know what I mean? And He's the one who shows you these things. So I'm just simply relaying it to you guys. If you're a chosen child of God, you see this. Maybe you don't really fully understand what's going on, but this is definitely a part to play. This has a part to play, with the handlers in the system and the agent. The agents, all they want to do is keep you asleep. So here's the thing: is like, well, what do we do about it? Well, number one is don't play the game. When you realize that they're coming on you to try to like you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, right? When you switch your diet up, you're gonna have pizza showing up in your face somehow, some way, So we can't judge the people, we can't blame the people who are the handlers because they're just simply unconscious and asleep. But this is how the complexities of the system works. Is they will pluck out anybody they can, especially the ones who are closest to you, and they might not even be like chances are they're not like really. Some of them, most of them are kind of well-meaning. Like Jude, he wasn't a mean guy. He was actually like, he had no ill intentions other than keeping tabs on him and keeping him distracted and voicing into the system agent, the analyst in this case, in case anything went sour, in case Neo was waking up, we have to try to distract him, do something, bring him back in, right? So this is all it is. You can't look at it as like an actual enemy. It's just simply someone who's keeping tabs on you in the matrix. Okay, so when you see this, it removes their power because when you expose it, you're revealing these things, so they lose their control and power over you, or at least what they think they can do over you or on you or manipulate you. When you see it and expose it, you don't have to let them know. It's an internal understanding. And again, it doesn't really work out that way anyways, because if you try to expose them and, hey, I know what's going on, they're going to look at you with like a deer in the headlights look. They're going to probably think you're weird or insane or crazy or something like that. So it's not like exposing them that way. It's exposing it. It's exposing the situation from within, from God. He's the one who exposes this for us, so we can steer clear and understand what's going on in the situation, so we're not surprised or caught off guard. Like, why is this happening? Or why is this person switching up on me? Why is this person knocking on my door when I'm trying to or why are these girls showing up when I'm committing to celibacy? You know what I mean? Like, I never had these girls hit me up like this before. I never had girls checking me out like this before, man. Like, dang, this is really cool. This is really nice. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you never really had friends who you did stuff with, and now all of a sudden that let's just say you stopped smoking weed. You know what I mean? You've never had like legit friends like who like, because you ditched weed, right? Like, for example, let's just say, I'm using this as an example, you stopped smoking weed and you stopped drinking alcohol. So all your friends left, right? But yet, like, the second you start kind of ruminating in your mind, and I mean in your mind, you're not even expressing your feelings or opinions to anybody else, to any other person. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, maybe not your actual old friends who you used to smoke or drink with, but somehow, some way, the system will line it up. They'll line it up in a way that benefits you being put back to sleep. So you might get a call, you might get a knock on the door, a friendly little knock, and say, hey man, we're having this party, football party, and you go over there, you have fun, it's a great time, and then lo and behold, you start having some drinks, and then a little bit later, hey, someone pulls out a little sack of weed, and hey, you might just take a little puff, and you had a great time and everything. And it's like, I'm gonna kind of do this a little bit more often, because the first time is always the best. Next thing you know, it's like they know, the informants and the handlers know, it's like, we got him, we're putting him back to sleep, over and out, 10-4, and you're oblivious. You're just you've been put back to bed in a quote unquote waking consciousness back into the system. So when you free your consciousness from the system, man, they're not going to really like that. They're going to try to control you and bring you back down, bring you back into sleep, man, in many different ways. It comes with girls too, when you're on semen retention. Every single video I've watched so far, with people on committed to celibacy and stuff, they've always had at least one story where they're starting to get more attraction from females and stuff like that. And it's like, man, this is making it a lot harder than I thought. You know what I mean? Some people do it on purpose for that reason, so they can find a mate, and that's fine if you're purposefully trying to find a female. But when you're committed to celibacy and you're like, I don't need distractions right now, especially when you make it up in your mind and in your heart, because you don't have to speak about it. This is proof of how the matrix works. Like, you don't have to speak about it, but when you're committed to something wholly and fully that helps you to wake up and tune yourself into God more and spend time more with God, it's like you're gonna get some looks. You're gonna get some girls hit you up somehow, some way. They're gonna come to you and ask you for your phone number. You know what I mean? This is usually how it works more times than not. You're like, man, and then you could get caught up. You could find yourself laying in bed and you might think like, oh dang, I slept with this girl. This is what I thought I always wanted. This is like a big success or big, but you know what I mean? It could always turn south. What if she had a boyfriend? There's so many different things. Is like, then the boyfriend comes knocking on you and that's baby mama drama. And it's like, hey, I heard you slept with my girlfriend or something. You're like, dang, man, why is this all happening to me? Like, why did I even do this, right? So I'm just trying to keep you safe and let you know that, like, you're going to be okay, but just make sure you don't make that wrong decision. Don't let those informants and those handlers suck you back down, because not only are they going to suck you back down and in and put you back asleep, they're you know, through your choices that you made to put yourself back asleep, it doesn't always end well. You know what I mean? And it always seems like it starts off good at the beginning. Like I said, like, it always seems like it starts off good at the beginning. Like, I'll just hang out with this girl a little bit. I'll just cuddle with this girl a little bit. It's okay. You know, it's innocent. Well, I'll just, you know, be by myself with this girl and maybe go to second base. And then it catapults from there. You know what I mean? And then boom, domino effect. You know what I mean? Then next thing you know, you might have gotten her pregnant. You know what I mean? So that's at worst what they could do to you. But it's really not them doing it to you. It's just you giving in to being controlled. So we're called to control ourselves. You know what I mean? We got to control ourselves and stay awake. But just be aware, because it says in the Bible, we're not ignorant to the devil's devices and his schemes and his plans. This is one of his schemes, his devices. He's got agents test out watching you, bro. Like, it's kind of creepy. The spirit realm is right here behind another layer of this physical earth realm. And they're just sitting there creeping, bro. They're creeping. They're creeping and spying on you 24/7, okay? And they're just waiting for an opportune moment, you know, to try to get you back down, to find a weak moment to get you back asleep in the matrix, in control, you know, being controlled. So don't let that happen. You know, when you see these handlers, just see it for what it is. Let that motivate you and encourage you that you are on the right path, right? When you get resistance from the darkness, it proves that, in and of itself proves that you're on a path that they don't like, that the darkness does not like. If you're getting resistance and getting temptations to go back into the system, you know what I mean? So that's all it is, guys. Hope I can motivate you in some sort of way through this video. If you like this, man, thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And we'll see you on another video. Peace.